This week on Phantom Power Hour. But I think Amazon ruined a lot of the excitement of this stuff for me.
Oak Sound stuff like never goes on sale, and I know Black Friday, that's when I would buy it. You use it for your games?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? How? It's super expensive.
You don't
expensive,
say.
like $5,000.
Oh, man. But what is money when it comes to happiness,
What
Jeremy?
is money?
Welcome, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Jeremy.
This is Phantom Power Hour. Hello.
If you use that intro, you're going to have to bleep out me saying that.
But I don't have to bleep you saying
Yeah.
only when you say
No, say it. Every time I say you need to bleep.
Okay. Also, I just wanted to reach out. Carl, I know we have our history. We have our past. You know what you did. You know why you didn't deserve the hello. But this time, I think you deserve it. Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl. That's only for Carl, though.
Only Carl. Yeah.
With
Everybody
with
else,
a K.
you know. Carl with a K. So it's almost the time of year where everybody pulls out the wallet and hops online, stands in line for the stores, goes out at 1 o'clock in the morning to hit the mall.
Black Friday.
Almost there. But
It's upon us.
Sweetwater, I saw, I think yesterday or the day before, started their early Black Friday deals. And I didn't see this coming. Did you know anything about this? Did you know this was going to happen?
Mm-mm.
So I
I
thought,
mean, they kind of do Black Friday deals, but I didn't know there was going to be specific early Black Friday.
yeah. So I thought maybe we could look through some of these. And I mean, I've already seen a couple things that are quite tempting for me. But,
Ooh, like what?
well, if you scroll down a little bit, there's an Ashdown 610 cab there on the right-hand side. My first ever, like, pro-tier cab that I used for well over a decade was an Ashdown 210 mag. And this is a 610 Evo. And I love them. I love the Ashdown sound. I couldn't tell you the speaker's specifications or anything like that, but mine treated me so well for so many years and was so versatile that I wouldn't hesitate to pick up another one. And it's only $600 for a 610 cab with casters. So
It was $1,000.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
it's one heck of a deal.
I had an Ashdown amp when I was playing, and a couple of the guys in the band I was playing with at the time, this was like high school, one of the first bands that hit the road, and Ashdown does have a sound.
Mhm.
And I think it might be because of the band that I was in, and this would be interesting to hear from you as a bass player. But like, to me, it's got like this like slow mid scoopy thing happening, and a lot of like top end presence, but not like glassy.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
It's not brittle, but it is pointy.
Yes,
Yeah.
very present, which can be cool, I guess, depending what you're pushing this thing with.
My first practice amp was an Ashdown 115 combo. And to this day, that's just the thickest low end that I've ever heard out of a little combo amp. But I sold it the same time I sold that G&L bass that we talked about a handful of episodes ago. I sold them as a bundle. But that thing was a chonker. It was so heavy.
Mr. Chonks.
Mr. Chunks. So that's just the first deal that like my eye gravitated towards on this Sweetwater page. But the Aux box is also on sale.
That piece has always intrigued me and confused me a little bit. I know so many players who use an aux box. I guess if for some people it's the thing, but it seems very expensive. And I guess if you're buying it, you're buying into like what Universal already does really well. Where I think for me as a player, I would rather have like just a load box and use my own IRs. But I also have access to Studio and I can build whatever I want.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
IR wise.
I think that is an excellent option for home studios where you don't get to crank the amp whenever you need to, as well as for those guitar players that, you know, they go for the tone from the head, and that's where the money is, and they don't have the different cabs for the different tones and stuff, you know.
And there's definitely something to that. I have the few amps that I like, although I am looking for something new. I have my eye on a couple things, but I'm more often to change a cab, than anything. But I am really looking at a couple heads. Just I have my eye on some stuff.
I want you to tell me all about this, but before I forget, Anderton's just released their kind of spotlight on the Aux Stomp. And we talked about that super briefly a couple episodes ago. And they brought up a really good point. So the Aux Stomp, I think, is around $600 less than the full-blown Aux box. With them, as far as I can tell, if not only, then the biggest difference, there's no attenuator. And they said, if you're trying to build an Aux box on a much more affordable budget, Bugera makes an attenuator that is super low cost. So you could... you could
get your own load box. That's a good point. I mean, if you're trying to do an aux box thing,
but then you have the versatility. You can have the Aux Stomp on the pedal board if you have a use case where you want to have a direct out to the front of house or something, and then you're in the studio, get that Bugera for your attenuator, and you've got so many different options. But
dude, Lewitt mics are like blowing out right now. Those things are cheap. They have the 441 Flex, $50 off. That's like a $400 mic for $350. And the 540 and the 640 are each $200 off.
That's like, wild.
I have the 440 and the Pure Tube, and those are fantastic mics.
I think I saw the Pure Tube on here earlier when I was scrolling through.
I saw the 1040, but I didn't see the Pure Tube. It's a little different. This is the 1040.
Okay, I might have just been mistaken.
But still, that's $500 off.
That's
so there's some deals to be had.
It's not even Black Friday yet. This is pre-Black Friday.
No,
this is like Gray Friday.
The thing with Black Friday too, like I remember when I was, and it hasn't even been that long, like 5 or 6 years ago, like I would save up money for months just to get stuff ready for Black Friday, knowing I was going to make all my software purchases, all my plugin purchases that I had my eye on, perusing every like plugin rumor site to be like, is Soothe going on sale? Because I really like those really expensive items that you knew were probably going to be on sale. And then it led to like over purchasing things that you would never use. So there's like there's a love-hate thing with Black Friday for sure. Like it's easy to get into that gear acquisition thing.
And that's always a thing for me. I have to fight back that demon all the time of, you don't need this. You're not going to use this, but it's cool. So maybe get it. But I feel like, and I don't want to put all the blame on Amazon, but I think Amazon ruined a lot of the excitement of this stuff for me, because of the whole like Prime Day. From what I can tell, it's really like a few weeks before Prime Day, they'll just up the regular cost of everything and then drop it back to the regular price and make it look like a discount.
Yeah.
And so now I'm jaded whenever I see Black Friday blowout sales. But at least from what I can tell so far, these are some real deal deals. Real deal.
Dude, there was the 414 XL2, $200 off. Not as good of a deal, but that's a killer mic. If you're into a 414,
well, I mean, that's like a killer microphone. Definitely not Killer Mike himself.
Okay. But on the like raising prices to knock them down, I was just out on an anniversary trip with my wife, and we went to this place. It's like most of the town is really, really cool, and there's a lot of hiking, which was a lot of fun. But the rest of the town is very touristy, and there's like a couple businesses that are like sneakily, I don't know if it's sneakily, but it always feels weird when you walk into a place and there's like 4 separate businesses, but when you get there, you're like, these are clearly owned by the same people and they're doing the same thing. And there was an axe throwing place and we were going to go, and it was like, I don't remember the price. It was a little expensive, like $40 per person for an hour. And then we go back a couple days later and they're like, "Oh, axe throwing's half off." I'm like, "Oh, well, cool. Let's go for $20." And it was like $40. Wait a minute. And they had just taken like regular price, $80 per person for an hour.
Oh,
Now it's
man.
$40. It's like, you literally just,
Yeah.
that was
That's-
the most brazen, and it was done in like marker. So it was like,
Oh my gosh. That's so shady. But like I get it. These little companies need to make some money, and everybody loves thinking that they got a deal. And
Yeah.
if you don't know that you didn't get a deal, you're still content believing that you got a deal.
I guess perception is everything.
Yeah. Man, axe throwing has always spooked me. I've seen too many videos of like you throw it wrong, it starts to bounce back.
It does.
Yeah.
But every time we go somewhere, my wife wants to go. She's really good at it, and I'm not.
Oh,
so yeah, she kicks my butt every time.
I get that. I do want to do it. I just don't want to lose an arm.
Well, if we're ever in a Viking apocalypse, my wife will protect us.
That is good to know. That's good to know.
Do you have anything you're going for personally that you're gonna pick up?
I need a new set of studio headphones. Mine are still working just fine. They're the AKGs, just run-of-the-mill AKGs. But I've had them for so long that every time I wear them, I take them off and I have just bits of black junk all around my face.
You can get the replacement ear pads.
Yeah, and I will probably do that, but I also want to feel like I get a little bit of an upgrade because I love them. They've worked great for me, but I can't trust them too much. There's a lot of time where I'm doing some editing or mixing or something like that, or even practicing late at night, and I'll find a tone that I really like with my headphones, and then the next day I come back when I can use the monitors because it's, waking hours for everybody. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's so much mud and low end in this tone that I thought was really cool. So I want something that's a little bit more just kind of tonally accurate.
So like a kind of a reference headphone.
Yeah.
The I don't know if this is what you have, but the 50Xs.
Those are not what I have. No.
These are like pretty darn cheap and they sound really good. They're pretty flat. I mean, as far in that price range, I really like them. And if you pair it with something like, do you have like a headphone fixing software? What am I trying to say here?
like a third party, like EQing.
Yeah, like it was SonarWorks, and I think they changed their name.
You know what?
Sound ID.
I this is so nerdy. I use something like that for my gaming headphones, and this is just a big, just dummy move. I've never applied any of that to.
You use it for your games?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? How?
So I just recently got the Barracudas by Razer, and they're not top of line by any means. However, they support 7.1 surround sound, and then you can also add another client to it to change EQ settings based on application and based on game. So it can save profiles. So if you're playing a first-person shooter and you want to feel the thud more of your gunshots or hear the footsteps around you more, you can have a profile save for that. If you're playing more of like a real-time strategy game and you want to hear the ambience or something, you can have an EQ set up for that.
Gaming is something I've never gotten. I would love to, but I've never gotten into it, especially on that level.
It's fun. It's a good time. But I grew up on it, so there's a huge dose of nostalgia mixed with just I'm a big tech nerd, so I love seeing kind of the innovation and the stuff that people are creating, especially these days. It's such an exciting time for music technology and gaming technology.
Speaking of, I mean, well, they're calling it Sound ID now. I don't know if it was like an acquisition or I guess it looks SonarWorks is still the thing, but you can get it just for headphones if that's what you're into, like $99 in it. It does a pretty good job. It'll basically flatten it out and get as close to like a reference response. And they have a whole lot of different profiles that you can get. It looks like you can actually like
pair it, like bundle
purchase it with that. That's cool.
Are those the Paradynamic ones?
This one, like, it's...
No, I meant the headphones down there.
Yeah, the DT770s.
Yeah.
I mean, those are killer. And it looks like they were on sale.
Yeah, I did see those for sale, and I'm leaning towards something with a cloth ear cup.
I have a pair here if you want to try them on.
No, I've used them a handful of times here. I think normally every time I'm working in here lately, I've been using the Telefunkins.
They're direct sounds. Those are like a weird one-off branded Telefunken ones that just happened to be available when I was purchasing more. I can't find those anymore.
I love them.
And like the direct sounds are still out there, but they're different. Yeah. And so those are the 25s, I think. So these bad boys. No. 29s.
29s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and those are killer. They're very isolating. Like if you're tracking and you have a mic in front of you, you don't really have to worry about a click.
And again, for my use case, I would be investing in something that's closed back anyway. And I like the isolation factor.
Now, the one drawback you're going to have is if you go closed back, it's not going to be as accurate for reference.
Right.
So there's a trade-off.
Exactly.
But I mean, just like anything, if you get to know those, you can mix on them.
Yeah.
If you're using references and stuff. So like if you're tracking, it'd probably be more handy to get a closed back thing.
And I've gotten way better using my current AKGs, just understanding kind of where those holes are in the low mid range and stuff. But I have to actively remind myself, because again, if I'm just sitting and practicing for a couple hours with headphones, I want to enjoy what it sounds like. We've talked about this for people tracking in the studio. If you get a tone you enjoy, then you're going to have much more freedom with creativity. You're going to enjoy the process more, all that.
Oh yeah.
So I feel that way when practicing too, or when I'm trying to come up with different tunes or something like that as well. So I have to actively remind myself, this doesn't sound exactly the way you want it right now, but when you take the headphones off, you're going to like it a little bit better. So
I wish I had gotten more into headphones early, because you get used to what you're used to.
Yeah.
And there's people mixing records that are huge on headphones. I don't have that confidence. I can't do it. Like, I'm stuck on speakers. Like, I'm just used to hearing that. I don't know if that would be binaurally, like just in a room with boxes that are moving air. And it's really hard for me to translate that to headphones. I've tried a few times, and I know there's like the like Slate makes the technology for some headphones where it like puts you in a room or in different modeled rooms.
Oh, interesting.
And some people swear by it. Like I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I feel like if that actually works, that'd be the way into headphones for me. But man, if you want to be ultimately mobile, just getting a set of really nice reference headphones, which I've never purchased.
Yeah, well, because the really nice ones, they're up there.
Yeah,
like those audiophile headphones. I've always wanted to experience some of those, though. I watch reviews on like the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 headphones, and it'd be great to experience that at some point. Just like, what does this sound like, and what does this feel like? But then I kind of experience what you have in your control room, and it's like, this is phenomenal, but how can, like, what would the differentiation be between this and some astronomically priced set of headphones, you know?
I mean, I think the opposite could be said as well. Like somebody who has really nice headphones, they're like, look, I don't have to sit in a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about where my head placement is, because
every spot is my sweet spot.
Because these $8,000 speakers are like pointed in a very specific position. And like I mean, I get it. But when you say like $4,000 or $5,000 headphones, I'm like, ooh, never in a million years. But I dropped that on studio monitors without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I know in my head, like, if I can't hear it, it doesn't matter. Nothing else in the recording chain matters. It doesn't matter what I mic that snare with, or how I tune that snare, or what preamp I'm going into. If I can't hear it, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's interesting for my own thinking.
Do you think there will ever be a day where technology gets us to a place where we can accurately hear the exact same thing that the engineer was hearing during the mixing and mastering process?
My knee jerk is no.
Right.
Just because there's even the engineer in that room mixing may have been on the road with a band and like totally jacked up his hearing years ago.
Yeah.
And like he's hearing it a very specific and a specific way. So like you're never going to hear it exactly the same.
What if, I mean, like there are these what's the Elon Musk like neural transplant thing called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Why am I spacing on that? Neuralink?
SpaceX.
Yeah,
Yeah, Neuralink.
Neuralink. Okay, let's say that becomes a thing, and we don't record the audio. We record the engineer's like processing of it from his brain, and that's how we listen to it. We listen to it by downloading the Neuralink clip instead, so our ears aren't doing it. Purely our brain.
That's wild. Because there's so much happening with sound, like the bones in your head vibrating a certain way, your nasal cavities, how open are they?
But if we can find a way to like, where is that sum of experience like coming to a point
Just
in the brain?
Getting to the effective ones and zeros of it. That's super interesting. I don't even know how to think about that though.
Right.
All I'm like, there was one thing with Neuralink a long time ago where they were talking like they could effectively negate tinnitus. That had me excited.
That is a very exciting proposition.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll take 2, please.
one here and one here. Or what if you can, purchase a synesthesia upgrade?
That'd be frightening.
Toggle it on and off.
Oh, if we could turn it off, that'd be the thing.
I'd imagine, like, assuming a future like this is possible, I'd imagine that would be something you could do.
Yeah.
Like you could
tie
get
it
these
to
different upgrades and turn them on and off. Upgrades, if you want to call it that, or like DLC for the brain.
Oh, could you imagine going to like a concert and like you turn your synesthesia on?
It's called app. But no, for real. Like, or you are in the studio and you can turn on and off perfect pitch.
Well, that'd be nuts.
Something like perfect pitch or synesthesia or something like that, I would need to be able to turn it off. I've heard so many people saying I wish I had perfect pitch, and I don't know if me personally if I could tolerate it, because I already listen to things and have to really try to not analyze what I'm listening to. And if I had perfect pitch, man, I couldn't imagine what that feels like all the time. You hear a car go by and you're analyzing like this is C sharp but 4 cents sharp,
C sharp.
C sharp.
It's a thing even as an engineer. Like there were years where especially when you're trying to learn the craft, you can't get out of your head with certain things. So it's like there's years where you just don't enjoy music. You're just analyzing it.
Oh yeah.
And it sucks the joy out of it. And I know a lot of people in this field who just don't listen to music for enjoyment. Like most of us listen to podcasts or
something. Yeah. I definitely come and go in waves of that still. And anytime I do start to feel the enjoyment from the music itself, I really try to catch that wave and ride it for as long as it lasts. But it's like a lot of other things for me personally. Like I chase what I'm finding enjoyment out of because I feel like I can get more out of it instead of forcing myself to, scratch and claw for any enjoyment out of it. So if I'm not feeling invigorated by a piece of music, then maybe I throw on a podcast, maybe I play a game instead, something like that, And it seems to, I don't know.
On your new ATH M50X.
Maybe.
Deep sea blue.
See, I don't know. I'm an all white or an all black kind of like headphone user.
Ta-da.
White headphone. Yeah, I have seen those.
There you go.
White headphones are a little iffy though.
See, those aren't on sale.
They aren't. No.
It's because nobody likes the blue.
Yeah, they gotta get those blues out of there. But see, they still have the like the plasticky ear cups. Do you
Mm-hmm.
do you have any idea why that's like the norm? Because if you look at I don't know what you would call them, commodity headphones, you can get cloth all over the place, almost like I don't know, 50% or
You mean like
more.
the cup part, like this
Yeah,
guy?
50% or more of like gaming headphones are cloth. And a lot of them nowadays you can remove and throw in the washing machine. So why not studio headphones? Does it have something to do with maybe the isolation factor, or is
I
the
don't know.
audio?
Maybe it could just be like there's mass there to keep as much in as possible. Because if these are like tracking headphones
Mm-hmm.
and you're just on cloth where there's very little mass to keep that sound in there,
Yeah,
you're just asking for bleed issues.
no, I don't want
So I
bleed
imagine that
issues.
like faux leather probably does a better job keeping like high frequencies out. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is
That makes sense,
conjecture.
but
I've never seen cloth on like tracking headphones, but
yeah,
I've also
reference
never
headphones
thought
for
about
sure.
it.
But
Something I've never thought about. I mean, the DT770s have this like silky. Of course, mine look way dirtier than that because mine are like 20 years old.
yeah,
Still kicking though. I have the 250 ohm. I think. Yeah. Wild.
So, what are you gonna tell me the different heads that you're looking into?
Oh boy, I want a rev pretty bad.
Revs are pretty sick.
The generator.
Mm-hmm.
That one looks cool. The PRS, the new MT100.
Yeah,
Yes, please. Like,
but Jeremy, you already have a PRS head.
yeah, it's an Archon. I mean, who wasn't a Mark Tremonti fanboy? I was.
Oh yeah,
I wanted that guitar. The silver, what was it, silver single cut PRS?
there's oh, what is it called? I'll try to find it. Were you ever a System of a Down guy?
Yeah.
On the local Facebook marketplace, there is that System of a Down guitar. I can't remember.
Wait, which one?
It's the Ibanez. I want to say it's like the Black Diamond or something. I think there are only like 300 of them made, but there's one on the local Facebook marketplace. Oh, not System of a Frown. Come on, iPhone.
Did he label it System of a Down?
No, it's like a signature guitar from them. Yeah, the DMM1.
Yeah, I like System of a Down, but I'd never play that guitar.
No, I don't like the look of the guitar at all. But it's based on a popular Ibanez model, but that's what it looks like.
For the right person, that would be awesome. That person is not me.
No.
Can you imagine me playing that? I'd look like a fool. Speaking of guitars, though, I am. Have you seen there's like the Aristides made the first multi-scale Evertune guitar.
I don't think I have seen this.
You like my one-handed
I
typing?
do. Efficient. Man, I've noticed that sometimes I do the old man, like just single finger typing on the phone, and I get so mad at myself.
Yeah, check this out. They put so Aristides made it's like the 017 or 070, but they licensed the Evertune and then made it into a multi-scale.
Oh,
Never
man.
happened before. I want one so bad. It's super expensive.
You don't
expensive,
say.
like $5,000.
Oh man. But what is money when it comes to happiness?
What is
Jeremy?
money? You know what I do want though? With my Evertune, they've been teasing a bass bridge forever.
Oh yeah.
And of all the instruments that you need to be exactly in tune, could you imagine never having to worry about having a bass perfectly in tune all the time?
I mean,
This would be from two different perspectives:
yeah,
producer
producer,
and
yeah.
player.
Mine, mine are normally pretty dang close,
But are they perfect?
perfect is really hard to say. That's a pretty absolute statement, you know.
I can tell you, no, they're not. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But depending on the genre,
This is true.
and then are you mixing with like software instruments and all this stuff? Like if you had a bass that was absolutely perfectly in tune, holy cow, that would change so many things. They've been teasing the bass bridge for years. Every like once a year, I have it in my calendar to email them and be like, "Hey, is this ready yet?
Is this out?
Can I beta test it?" And the answer is no every single time. Even before I had a YouTube channel to even like appropriately ask that question.
So are you leading me up to disappointment? Is it out? Has it been announced?
They announced it, but it like there's nothing happening.
Oh man, I thought for sure you're gonna say, and it finally dropped.
No, it didn't.
No.
They announced it like in April, and like that's all you got right there.
So what makes it so legendary?
Evertune?
Mm-hmm.
It's you just don't have to tune anything. It's in tune all the time. Perfect.
Just magic?
Tension, I think, which is also magic. I've wanted to get some of my guitars Evertuned, but I know they're like because I don't have one, and I mean they look hideous, right? Especially on that guitar.
They're pretty
We're
gaudy.
looking at a Gibson with an Evertune. It looks pretty bad. But
I forgot we were doing this. I was just geeking out about gear.
like, have you really never like looked into this?
I've heard about them, but I'm not much for modding my basses. Guitars, yeah, because I don't go out and like play bunches of gigs with them. If I'm doing guitar work, it's normally like recording for people, you know?
Yeah, but even in that aspect, like I feel like that's where it really stands out.
Well, that's what I mean.
If
Like
it's-
guitar stuff I've modded, bass stuff,
Oh, I see.
I just need it to work all the time.
This was the original like introduction video. I remember I saw this in person and my mind was blown. He's just showing off.
Okay, but how much of that is the bridge and how much of that is like the tuner's not slipping?
Oh, it's the bridge, guaranteed. Because you use the tuners to get it up to a certain. I'm gonna say this wrong because I've never actually had one, but there's certain like levels or stages where you can get in there. Like that is at one stage, like you're just under pitch and it's not gonna engage the tension the right way. There's one stage where you can try to bend that note and it's just gonna stay exactly wherever you set it. So if you have
Because
that
the
to
bridge
an A,
is responding to that.
the bridge is responding to tension.
Got
And
it.
then you can get it in the last stage where it's like it'll just start to go sharp and then you pull back a little bit. So if you were to bend a string, you could put the tension above the target. So you can do bends, but it'll never dive below.
Okay, that does sound pretty magical.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's always perfectly in tune, but you can still like it'll still respond like a guitar.
Now, can I have one of these and a Bigsby?
No. Actually, I don't think so. Maybe. But I want some of these so bad. I couldn't
So,
imagine the
can-
amount of time tuning in a session.
Can every Gibson just come stock with those, please?
What's their thing? Play original? Or
I don't. They're like slogan,
the stupid slogan.
or at least the G string. At least put one on the G string.
Just one.
Yeah.
Evertune G series. The only string that matters.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never looked into it. I've briefly looked into various bridges for bass and just different pieces of hardware, but I've never been in a spot where I needed to upgrade something, so I never I didn't fall down that rabbit trail.
I think it's not even like I don't even think about it like a normal mod. Like you're not switching pickups or switching bridges or like the little things. This is like a fundamental change of the instrument itself.
Yeah.
But if you still like the sound, like I'm looking at the black PRS single cut, like that thing is just chonky, and I love it. And if I could slam on it and it would never go out of tune, I would love that. That would be so cool. That's my thought process.
No, I'm following that. That sounds great. I have wanted to get those like hip shot drop tuners. Have I ever shown you Michael Manring? Real quick, YouTube, Michael Manring, Enormous Room. He does a bunch of different tunes like this, and it's spelled like it sounds, Manring. Wicked bass player, but pushes the envelope in terms of creativity. Yep, that's it. So he plays Zon basses, graphite necks, fretless, and he has these drop tuners on each tuning peg, so he can drop tune a half step or a whole step, and then he also has something on his bridge that does the same thing, so he can move either direction by half steps or whole steps. You can skip it.
Holy cow.
It's so cool, man.
It's like if you wanted to turn a bass into a lap steel.
Yeah.
But not use pedals. Oh, that was dope.
So he did two of them at the same time.
Oh.
And that one when he dropped it and detuned it at the same time.
Yeah, did he go a full step? I couldn't think this quickly.
He's a wizard. He's so good.
I'm trying to think of how you would perceive like a constantly moving pitch center on like a... I mean, I guess he's fretless, so he doesn't really have...
It's like the ears guiding him the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
I'll post a link to this in the description if you're interested, but it's Michael Manring, The Enormous Room. Even if you're not a bass player, but you like watching different forms of creativity on instruments, he's like a must-see. Very cool stuff.
That's crazy.
Also, I love his like full rack setup behind him.
I know.
For just this like little living room session that he's playing.
I was trying to see what all is in there.
He has some other wild videos of like playing multiple basses at once and having some be droning basses and just crazy stuff. But
gosh, that's next level like musical thinking where you... Oh man, I don't even know how to approach that.
Yeah. It's really like it's an entirely different instrument in the first place. But just like you said, one thing that I think a lot of instrumentalists can lean upon is that even if you're in an altered tuning, it's just that tuning. So you can reframe your mindset and your motor functions around this stagnant idea and position. But now every other measure, you're changing the tuning of one or more strings at a time. And it's not always the same
sometimes a half
pitch.
step, sometimes a full step, but he did a step and a half.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to hold on to there. Like even your hand shape would be constantly changing.
Chord shapes are constantly changing. The droning notes are constantly changing. It's cool. Like I said, wizard.
He is a wizard.
A bass druid, if you will.
No beard, though.
No beard. He's an incognito wizard. Wizard in hiding.
Yeah, we bopped around all over the place on this one.
That's true. Well, can you hop back to that Sweetwater page? I wasn't done looking at deals, Jeremy. What's the deal? I keep asking you to do it, but I have it right in front of me, too. Sorry.
So it ends on the 16th.
Yeah, so that will be... This is going to come out on Monday, and I believe that's a Thursday. Yeah, it'll be Thursday. So if you're watching this on the 13th, which is the day that this will come out, you'll have like 4 more days to cash in on any of these Sweetwater deals. And if you do, or if you're thinking about it, there's going to be a link in the description that happens to be an affiliate link for Sweetwater. This just so happens that it coincides with the early Black Friday deal stuff. But whether it's for Black Friday deals or you need a new pick or a tuner or anything like that, if you click that, then you can help us keep doing what we're doing and help grow this thing and do bigger, better, cooler, more fun, neat stuff that you guys enjoy. So,
and that affiliate supports this channel, which is Josh's.
That's me.
So support Josh. Go click something.
Oh, a saxophone. You're gonna get a studio sax?
A cool $6,500.
I was giving some sax lessons to one of my bass students over the last few weeks because he got a heck of a deal. His friend, he's a high schooler, but his friend upgraded his saxophone and sold his old one to my student for very cheap. So I've been giving him lessons, and it's on alto, but he wants to get a tenor instead. And I was trying to help him find an affordable option, and there are none. There's not a good affordable option for a saxophone. You're spending probably $1,000 as a minimum for like an entry level something.
That's an instrument I never understood. Like, there's so many buttons there. Like, I played French horn. We have 3, sometimes 4.
Dude, French horn's like the hardest though.
Is it?
Embouchure for the French horn is so hard.
This is like playing an imaginary something. I don't know. It makes no sense.
Saxophone, clarinet, those woodwind reed instruments, everything other than, I'm not talking about double reed, so not bassoon or something, but single reed woodwind instruments, in my opinion, are the easiest of like the concert band variety.
You just fit as so many people.
I don't think so. Because yes, you have every wind instrument, you have to deal with embouchure. In my opinion, a brass instrument has the most difficult amount of learning to do for embouchure because depending on like the pitch of the note, you have to change how you're pushing air through your mouth.
Yeah.
On a saxophone or a clarinet or something of that nature, that is also true, but it's much more minimalistic. It's how much do I drop the jaw for the most part. Other than that, you can have 2 different kind of finger patterns for one note on saxophone, but more often than not, you just use one fingering per note that you can play. And there's a limited amount of notes. And if you want to go up an octave for most of your notes, you just hit the key with your thumb and tighten up a little bit on your mouth. So there's some wildly difficult stuff you can do if you want to start playing with altissimo notes and work on like flutter tonguing and a bunch of other cool techniques. That's true for any instrument though. But as far as like making sound and playing some just notes, I think the woodwinds, in terms of wind instruments, woodwinds are going to have the least amount of hurdles from never playing it to being able to make some sound. But that's my personal opinion. I also wanted to get really good at brass instruments and had braces and could never get my mouth right. And I went back later after braces to try it and had no success. So
it took me a long time to make a noise on a French horn. That was good. It didn't sound like.
Well, man, French horn still. I got so much mad respect for French horn players. If you're a French horn player out there, kudos to you. It's my favorite timbre of wind instrument
that
there is. Yeah, man. I love a French horn.
It just sounds like controlled farts.
Maybe I like those.
Even French horn players, we're so embarrassed we point it behind us.
Maybe that's why it sounds like a fart, because it's pointed behind you. No, man, I mad respect for French horn players. I love it. And bassoon players. Man, a double reed is so hard to play.
I was in like a woodwind quintet, and French horn was the weird like brass instrument where you could either play in a brass or a woodwind quintet. I don't know why, but I was playing French horn with, it was a bassoon, oboe, 2 clarinets, and me, and that was almost fun. Yeah, we traveled and did some like different stuff. It was pretty cool. Totally forgot about that until we just started talking about.
There you go, digging up old memories.
Instruments. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Do you still have your French horn?
No, I sold it a couple years ago.
Oh man,
couldn't make a noise out of it anymore that was any good, and I totally forgot how to play it. So
yeah, it probably would have came back eventually.
I never quite understood concert pitch.
Yeah.
Why that's a thing. Like, why is my F different from everybody else's F?
I could be totally off base here.
Be off base.
Be off base. My understanding and assumption is so that the majority of notation that you're reading is within the staff and not like way above or below the ledger lines. That could be totally wrong, but
even with French horn, most of our stuff was above or below.
Oh yeah,
like it never really made sense.
Yeah, see, that could be totally wrong. We have the internet, but that was kind of the understanding that I was given way back in middle school about like why do we have, why is alto saxophone in E flat and tenor in B flat, but then soprano is in B flat and baritone is in E flat. So,
no thanks.
I don't know.
That's a concert instruments are just a lie. That's all it is.
It's all. I mean, notation is just a lie. What is real? So, other than guitar heads, is there anything else on your wish list
for Black Friday?
Mm-hmm.
No,
nothing. No gear.
I don't think anything. No,
Man.
At least not
give me
yet.
Some of that lack of desire, please.
That might change. I mean, I'm also in a weird spot. Like I get to try so much stuff, stuff that never sees the channel too.
Mm-hmm.
There's one plugin that I'm like over the moon on right now, but I haven't totally figured out, so I haven't talked about it very much, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's stupid expensive. But it makes a huge difference. But maybe that's a discussion for another video, because where are we at?
Could be.
Now? 53 minutes?
53. A big chunk of that was our bro talk at the beginning that you probably won't get to hear.
Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. Plugins are like the biggest bang for your buck on Black Friday. So if there's like utilities that you actually need, and you never know what's going to go on sale with stuff like that. I mean, I imagine if you don't have it, like Soothe 2 would be a huge thing. That's a tool that you use all the time.
And that's one of those where you can get into the nitty gritty, but you can also just hit a preset. You're like, oh, this sounds good.
The presets are great. Like they're good starting points, especially if you're figuring out the plugin, because it is kind of weird if you're not used to that thing. Another plugin from them, I don't know, Oak Sound stuff like never goes on sale, and I know Black Friday, that's when I would buy it. Spiff is their like transient designer. Insanely useful. Like again, those two things like never go on sale, but Black Friday they typically always go on sale. I'm not affiliated with them at all, nor are you.
This is true.
Does Sweetwater sell that? Actually, they probably do. So you might
have that affiliation. At least 2 degrees of separation.
There it is.
They've got it.
Not on sale yet.
Not on sale.
Don't do anything.
Hold.
Hold, boys.
Have you seen that? I think it's a Carvana commercial.
No.
It's so dumb. It's just like this husband and wife, and every scene is her just going, hold, until she's laying in bed and finally buys a car because of a deal or something.
Yeah. The deals aren't here yet on plugins.
Not yet. Yeah, I didn't see a single plugin under their deal site or deal page just yet. But you can get a 12-pack of Ernie Ball strings for $60. That's a cool deal.
A 6-pack of DRs.
That's
actually a pretty good deal.
Mm-hmm. It covers like all of their, maybe not all, because Ernie Ball has a vast myriad of different strings, but a lot of different ones. I've been using Cobalts recently, and I've been loving them.
Cobalts.
Yeah.
Ernie Ball Cobalt?
Mm-hmm.
I think I tried them one time. I don't remember much about it.
I've been using on my telly, which I had struggled with like lower than average output through those Cobalts on them. And it's like, oh, here's the output that I wanted. And here's like just a touch more tone to it.
Like they're noticeably louder?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just stick to NYXLs.
I love NYXLs. Yeah.
I love them. Been using those things for years. I should try something else though.
I am back into the experimentation phase on bass, just because I've just gotten bored. You know, it's really great to have like these tones that you know you're going to get every time, the feel that you know you're going to get. But I miss like having so much unexplored area, and just every time I need a set of strings, just picking something I've never used before. So I have one or two basses at home where they're like, I don't need them for all my gigs. So I'll just throw different sets on them. But it's been a lot of fun. I like them.
Go change your strings.
That's true.
This
you
is your friendly
probably need
reminder,
to change your strings.
Carl.
Whoa, hey now. I thought we made amends with Carl. Benjamin,
It's going to take some time, Carl.
I'm going to learn to think about forgiving you. So. Oh, well, Jeremy,
the Rex.
We have some Rex, I believe.
I'm going to give one here. Spirit Box.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to Spirit Box?
Yeah, we were just talking about them last week.
Did I already do this?
No, you didn't do it, but
okay.
Not last week, a couple weeks ago. Last time you and I were sitting down to record one of these, between sessions, we had a good old-fashioned heavy music, just sharing time.
Yep. Their new cellar door is just... You need to listen to this.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. That is brutal.
She's a monster. Like,
so
she's such a monster. Like, I tried to show my daughter like them. I was like, look at this.
I was in lessons earlier this week, and I was teaching one of my groups. I run a group that's doing all Nirvana songs for a few months, and we're working on a new song. So every time we have a new one, I pull up the song, we listen through it for the first time, and I kind of talk through parts for people. And I had the last thing I listened to was my gym playlist, and for whatever reason, I don't know if this happens to you, but anytime I plug in the dongle on the iPhone and I have Spotify open, it auto plays.
Yeah.
And the PA in the room was like cranked, and the last thing I was listening to was Job for a Cowboy. And so these kids, like 11 to 14, I guess there's some like 16-year-olds. Anyway, they just all of a sudden got jump scared by some brutal Job for a Cowboy, and they were expecting Nirvana, but it was a good time. Some of them liked it. Some of them started bobbing. Some of them were visibly shaken and scared. Which is a good response for Job for a Cowboy, I suppose.
Especially when you have not been exposed to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if that's your first time hearing something heavy, it can be scary.
Okay, but what's your rec? I see Periphery on there.
Hey, yeah, I listen to Periphery. I'm not going to wreck Periphery, though.
Gent Essentials.
Gent Essentials.
Gent Essentials.
You beat me to it. I think I might go a different direction. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that maybe haven't heard this before, but I'm going to go with Weather Report.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, okay. In my opinion, a must listen for any jazzer out there or any kind of fusion player. And Weather Report has not always been Jaco Pastorius's. It was never like his band, but he was a bassist in there. Not always, but for the album Heavy Weather, he was. And that is my favorite Weather Report album. And
they have like very different sounds to each of those records too.
They really do. They
cover a lot of ground.
It's honestly worth listening to. Even if you don't dig that style of music, it's worth listening to how these different facets of music can be explored by the same group of people. Black Market is a great example of a different album that's a completely different vibe. But Heavy Weather, it has your quintessential hits. It has Teen Town, it has Birdland, Havana. It's just top to bottom, like a quintessential jazz album, in my opinion. And it's a different direction. And I think that at least this day and age, there's probably a lot of folks out there that haven't dug into Weather Report yet. So
That's a good rec.
get your jazz on.
Spirit Box and Weather Report.
That's one heck of a playlist right there.
We should make a playlist of all of our recs. And just be
Oh
like,
man,
just
that
take,
is such
just
a
to
good
take
idea.
a look at it all. Be like, oh, this is a mess.
I'm gonna go back through and I'm gonna start making a playlist, and we'll start linking to that. That's such a good idea. Also for us, because at some point I'm gonna forget what I have and haven't wrecked.
No, I'm already forgetting.
Yeah.
What are we like?
Spirit Box, did I do this one
Yeah,
yet?
I don't know.
Spirit Box and Weather Report. Specifically heavy weather, but any Weather Report stuff.
Heavy weather, heavy music.
Boom. And heavy goodbyes. It heavies my heart. It weighs on me. Say goodbye.
Except for Carl. Carl, you know I love you deep down.
Deep down.
It's deep though.
I only have that surface topical love for you, Carl, but maybe
You'll get there.
yeah, maybe those roots will get planted. If you enjoyed any of this, consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Consider telling your friends. Consider clicking the affiliate link if you want to get any of these Sweetwater deals we talked about, or any other stuff on Sweetwater. Like we said earlier, it helps me, it helps the channel, helps us do cool stuff that you guys like. If there's anything specific that you want to check out, let us know in the comments. And the last episode we did was on vocal tips and vocal ideas, because that's what you guys wanted to hear. So let us know what you're into, because we're probably into it as well. What emoji you want to see?
Oh, how about, is there headphones?
There are headphones, yeah.
Yeah, headphones. We talked about headphones. Slap some headphone emoji down there if you made it this far.
If you made it all the way through, hit those headphone emojis. And until next time. Just until next time.
See you.
Bye.